After a quick stop off in the United States for the Indy 500, we now head to Azerbaijan. We're here in the capital city in Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the 5th time the OC has raced at Baku, with of course the 2016 race hosting the European Grand Prix. Of course, last week we had a week break where we were at the Indy 500, which was won by Florian Volker. Congratulations to him. The last round, round 7 in Monaco, was won by Amar Khan, having beaten Franco Lopez, which has kind of been the story of the season so far. Now, at this circuit, of course, Baku, we have one of the longest straights on the calendar, a circuit length of 6.003 kilometers, 20 corners, only 51 laps, so it's a short race. The lap record set by Joel Hutter, remember that name, in 2018, 136.7. Previous 4 Baku winners have included Amar Khan winning 3 years in a row from 2016 to 2018, but of course Franco Lopez winning here last season. So the big question is, would it be either Khan, or either Lopez, or could it, God forbid, be someone different than either of those two? We shall see. The tyres we'll be using for this race will be the hard tyres, so that should make for an interesting race. And we'll now take a look at the practice results, and no surprise, it was once again a Mercedes 1-2, with surprisingly the 2 Renaults 3rd and 4th ahead of Roque, Gamba, Gal, Moitian, Franco Gamba, and Joseph was completing the top 10. But that was practice, however. Now this is what was the result of qualifying, and on the front row it was Franco Lopez taking pole position, with Nicolas Gal surprising second, a better performance from him in the Red Bull, though I suppose Franco Gamba has been the worst Red Bull driver this season. Amar Khan in 3rd place for Mercedes, with Joseph Willows, some qualifying by him to get 4th position. On row 3 we have George Roque for Racing Point, and Franco Gamba 6th for Red Bull Racing Honda. Row 4 we have the 2 Ferraris of Roberto Gamba and Laura Chung alongside each other, so good qualifying by both Ferraris as well. On row 5 we have Roland Moitian in the other Racing Point, with Kirosa de Rosa alongside him in 10th. On row 6 of the grid, 11th is David Kubok, and a very good qualifying performance from Felix Sontag in the Williams, getting his best qualifying of the season in 12th. On the 7th row of the grid, down 4 rows, is Evan Byrne and Jake Galloway for Renault, of course they were 3rd and 4th in practice. On row 8 of the grid we have Chris Chatfield for AlphaTauri and Dudu Kirby for Haas. On row 9 of the grid we have the 2 Alfa Romeos of Andrea Federi and Gabriel Gomez. That is row 9. Row 10 is Rosetta Martinez for Manor and Jamie Griffiths for Williams. And on the final row of the grid, of course, we have Daniel Fraser for Haas and Amelia Wilson for Manor Racing. So that is the grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it will be once again another dry race. So that means we've had 8 races this season, and all of them have been dry, no wet races. So the weather, the rain avoiding the OC like the plague, it seems. But we are now on the grid for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and who is going to get the jump into the first corner is going to be the big question. The 5 lights are now coming on, and who's it going to be? Is it going to be Lopez or Gal leading off the start? And we are underway, and it looks like Gal's got a pretty good launch. I think he's already passed Lopez before the first corner, and he is. So what a start by Nicolas Gal, and Lopez could even be overtaken by Willows, who's made a great start in the McLaren. It's side by side, but Lopez will just about keep the position. But what a start for Nicolas Gal, and he takes the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And Joseph Willows behind, getting ahead of Amar Khan at the start. Meanwhile, side by side there between Franco Gamba and George Roque there. As we look at the rest of the order, oh, we've got a couple of cars damaged. Gabriel Gomez has got damage. Jamie Griffiths has got damage as well. And there was one other car I couldn't quite see has damage as well. Meanwhile, Franco Gamba, who tried to overtake there, has lost position to the Ferrari. Now this is Jamie Griffiths, who also had damage as well. Going into the first corner, we're going to see how that happened for him. So as he was coming through into the first corner, just didn't brake in time. It all stacked up, and he just went right into the back of Gabriel Gomez. Meanwhile, this is Amelia Wilson we're looking on board, who I believe who must be the other person who got damage. And no, she got rounded. She managed to avoid getting damage. Oh no, she didn't. Just as I thought she was going to get away with it, she had just the wing there. She ran into it and she lost her wing as well. So unfortunately for her, she is going to have to pit. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd between Willows and Carr, former teammates of course at Ferrari, and Carr is now trying to go on the inside of Joseph Willows, heading up towards turn 1, the long front straight. Gal already getting a gaffer and taking the fastest lap of the race as well, so must have light fuel in the car. But meanwhile, Amar Khan is alongside Willows into turn 1. Is he going to make it stick? And the answer is yes, he is. So he moves past Willows back into 3rd. Meanwhile, there's Roque in 5th position. Willows might even try make a move back if possible. Meanwhile, this is the battle for 5th place as Gal sets another fastest lap, and this is the battle between Laura Chung and George Roque with Franco Gamma just behind. Chung trying to get on the inside. Meanwhile, behind the other Ferrari, Roberto Gamma trying to pass his cousin Franco Gamba. And Roque really pushing Chung out to the wall, not wanting to let her pass at all. Roque keeps position. Meanwhile, Franco Gamba will get overtaken by his cousin Roberto into the first corner there. And he is down to 8th. Roberto Gamba moves up into 7th position. Good move there by the Italian. On his fellow Italian, I should say. So as we're looking now at Chung, who's not close enough to make a move on Roque down the front straight, but he tried, but it didn't just have the grunt of the Mercedes engine. And meanwhile, this is De Rossa, who's battling with Felix Sontag for 11th, as Sontag moves about all over the place there, but keeps De Rossa behind. And Rosetta Martinez has got another problem, and Rosetta Martinez has got a mechanical failure, and the question is, can he get it back into the pits on time, or in time, I should say. And so it is a long way to go, though. He's only just about going through the first sector at this moment in time. I mean, if he wishes, he could probably go through the wall right there, and then he'd be on the pit straight. But will he make it back, as we're seeing the big gaggle of cars heading up towards the castle section? And he does a little bit defending, as Daniel Fraser now overtakes him there. And so as he goes through the castle, it's still a long way to go. Half the circuit to go as he goes through the castle. Can Rosetta Martinez make it back? And this is coming to the exit of the castle, and no, he pulls off, and that is Martinez's race done, over and out. So he is now officially the first retirement of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Meanwhile, now the two Ferraris are battling with each other. This is Roberto Gamma now on the inside of Laura Chung. This is for 6th place. Meanwhile, behind Franco Gamma, was he being overtaken there? No, it was Moitin battling with the AlphaTauri there. But meanwhile, Roberto Gamma is going to go past Laura Chung, and so the side-by-side there was between... that was Moitin and Chatfield there. Meanwhile, this was the reason why, because Moitin got a bad run coming through the final corner per se, and he was battling in front, and Chatfield, I think, managed to actually get past Moitin. He's got a great run off the corner. You can see, look at the speed that Chatfield has because of how much momentum Moitin lost going onto the straight. That's all very important because, of course, it is a very, very long straight here, and so the slipstream is, well, that's what the slipstream was made for, really. And meanwhile, this is Roberto Gamba, who is he going to try and have a go on Roque? Is he close enough? No, he's not quite close enough. Roque's still holding on at the moment. 2P5. Meanwhile, De Rossa once again trying to get past Sontag, who's been stuck behind him since the start. He's alongside the Williams, but doesn't get past. He'll try once again. Has he got enough grunt heading in towards the first corner? And the answer is no, he doesn't. I mean, well, the two Renaults battling, and that was Jake Galloway passing his teammate Evan Byrne there for 14th place. Gamma just again needs to be slightly closer so he can get in the slipstream of Roque in front. But meanwhile, Gall has a 5-second lead at the moment, but I believe he might be on lighter fuel. Cause but if he's not, then he's very fast. That is for sure. Meanwhile, once again, the two battling here, the Ferrari versus Racing Point. Gamma now swapping to the inside. Has he got enough grunt to make a move into the first corner is the big question. I'm not sure if he does, and no, he still can't do it. I mean, Franco Gamma taking a slightly unusual line going into the first corner, then that's going to allow Chatfield to close up. Meanwhile, Kupok actually now going past De Rossa, and Jake Galloway is actually going into the pits. So, yeah, De Rossa unfortunately has not been able to make any progress past Felix Sontag, who's been stuck behind. Chatfield having a look at the back of Franco Gamba and not able to make the move stick there. Meanwhile, Carr is close to his teammate Lopez, so I wonder if we will see a battle soon between the two Mercs. You can see, looking at Roque's fuel, that it looks like he will be doing the one stop, because obviously it is a short race, only 51 laps. I mean, the shortest race on the calendar is Spa, of course, that only has 44 laps. I'm talking about lap distance-wise, of course. But probably the one stop is not a bad thing here because it is a short track. 3-stop is done, but is not very beneficial. Meanwhile, Carr is trying to attack Lopez, heading towards the end of the lap there. And Carr, if he stays close enough, he could still make a move on Lopez on the front straight here. Lopez, who's got a fair amount of fuel, nearly about the same as what George Roque did. So I think he could be on the one stop. Carr's got less fuel, so I think Carr will be on the 2-stop, as the two Mercedes are now side by side coming down the front straight here. And will Carr take the position? He's already passed Lopez coming up to the line, forces him over there, and will he try and take it back? Lopez, he's going to try and go on the inside, but I think Carr has held the position, and yes, he does. But that's allowed Gal to get away up front. 9 seconds was the gap there. Meanwhile, Lopez now well, I mean, Carr's closed up there, and Lopez, did he make a mistake somewhere? Maybe got a little bit on the curb, and oh yes, he went a little bit wide, as you can see, coming out of the castle section, and so that was why Carr was able to stick with him there, and that helped him to make the move on the front straight, and that was that, as far as we're concerned, and he just went past him very easily, did Carr, thanks to that mistake from Lopez. And it's amazing, a mistake from several corners ago you think wouldn't make a difference, but of course, around a track like this, it makes all the difference. Now, meanwhile, we're looking at Roberto Gamba in the Ferrari, still stuck behind Roque in sixth position, Roque in fifth. And Roberto Gamba goes wide. Well, he won't be in sixth for much longer as he goes into the wall, and he is out of the Grand Prix. And what a shame for Roberto Gamba, who is having a good race, and unfortunately has now thrown away a chance of a good result for him and Ferrari as well. Goes right into the Emirates banner there, and he will want to fly away from this track as soon as possible and get on the next flight to France. Meanwhile, Jake Galloway is in the pits there for Renault. He's one of the first ones to pit, and if it's a 3-stop for him, then it's certainly not going to work out. I mean, we've got about Willows actually still in P4, doing a good job as well. He's still actually keeping a relatively good distance actually to the Mercedes. They're not that far away from him. Meanwhile, Miguel Gal, who is out front, is going to come into the pit at the end of this lap, so it is a short stint for him. So I was right about him having less fuel, but it does mean it probably mean he'll do the 3-stop. But if he is doing the 3-stop, then I don't think he's going to win this race, even with this pace, because the 3-stop is definitely not the beneficial strategy to go on here, particularly especially not at Baku. Other tracks it might work, but this is not one of them. So Gal now comes into the pits, and we'll see where he comes up the circuit. So obviously come out P3. Well, he'll come out actually P4, possibly even P5. I don't actually know how far Roque was behind. Chung was about 27 seconds, so I mean he could be around about Laura Chung, and Roque's not too far ahead, so he'll probably come out either just ahead or just behind George Roque in the racing point. We're going to find out soon enough. 6.5 second stop that is for him. So Willows obviously has already gone past. And Roque, has he come across the line yet? He has now, so I think. And has he gone past yet? Not quite. But it's going to be interesting coming around the first corner. And actually, there is Roque just in shot. And so Gal will come out in between Roque and Chung there. And Chung does a little lock up there, gets a little bit twitchy, seeing that Gal's coming out the pits. But Gal does come out behind George Roque, but crucially does come out ahead of the rest of that gang of cars, which is important. But for Chung, after that minor mistake, Gamba's going to try and make a move on the inside here. But Gamba has been blocked by Chung there, so no move done there. But, I mean, even though Gal is behind Roque, he'll be able to get past him very quickly on fresher tyres, and with Roque going a lot longer in this race. But as we look at Lopez at the moment, behind Carr in second position, it's almost like a deja vu. It's kind of how it's gone during the season. I mean, whenever Lopez gets pole, he never seems to get the win. As we're looking through the rest of the order, there's got Bernard Trott, there's Federi 13th, Chatfield again doing another good job in the points for AlphaTauri. Had a pretty solid start to the season. Meanwhile, Gabriel Gomez, who is one of the first drivers to pit early on because of getting damaged, out of the first corner is in the pits again, so yeah, that really has hampered him because he was going to be, it looks like on the 3 stops, so it looks like he's going to be getting absolutely nowhere in this race, that is for sure. Meanwhile, this is Miguel Gal, who's obviously right on the back of Roque, and you can see he gets a little bit twitchy, but you can see he's still just about keeping in the slipstream of Roque here because of the fresh tyres. If he didn't have the fresh tyres, he'd probably be in the wall by now. You can see Gal getting alongside the racing point of Roque, and this is going to be a very easy move coming down the front straight, and Gal will make the move past the Englishman into the first corner. And side by side between the two, and Gal is through on the inside, and just like that. Pretty simple already, and now Gal's got some fresh air to the next car. Willows is over 14 seconds, so Gal can take it easy on these tyres and ensure that he'll get them to the next stop. I mean, the next stop's going to be probably about the lap 30-ish mark, probably maybe a couple laps younger than that. But meanwhile, De Rossa is now on the inside of Sontag. Will he finally be able to make the move on the inside? And yes, finally De Rossa has made it past Felix Sontag. It's taken him 14 laps to do so, but he has finally done it. So good job there from De Rossa. And he's finally through now up into the points. Meanwhile, Carr actually already coming up to some traffic, and this is, of course, Gabriel Gomez, who is just pitted, of course. And so car coming through the corner there now. Meanwhile, Joseph Willis, who's had a solid first stint for McLaren, is now coming into the pits. And we're going to see how quick this stop will be. And actually, I wonder what strategy he will be on, really. I don't imagine he'll be on a 3 pitting on lap 16. And let's see, 26. Nope, that's definitely going to be a 2-stop for Willows. I think that is definitely the best strategy. Well, I think the 1-stop is you could argue that's probably the best strategy. 2-stop is also the way to go. 3-stop is definitely not the way to go. So if Galler's doing that, as I said, he's got no chance of winning this race, even though he had some great pace to start the race off with. So we're going to find out soon enough. Willows will come out in some clear air, will come out in 12th position. And so he'll have Byrne just a little bit in front of him there. Meanwhile, Franco Gamba is on the back of Laura Chung. Is he going to now make the move on her, coming into the corner, and Gamba's on the inside, and yes, Gamba does pass Laura Chung, or does he, as Chung is going to hold it, is she in the, yes, so Gamba does now finally complete the move past Laura Chung. Now he might go after George Roke in front, but now Chung has got Chris Chatfield behind, and of course I think Chung is on the 1-stop, same as Roke, but at the moment Roke has managed to keep her behind him, and so that could be important for Roke's race later on. So looking at Gomez there in 20th, we're looking at cars coming through the castle. Haven't actually had, I believe, any incidents in the castle in either this or the GP2 race weekend. So it's been quite clean, I guess, for Baku really. And as a great driver once said, you've got to be alert on a street circuit. Meanwhile, Chung takes a very unusual line into the corner there, and that's going to allow Chris Chatfield to possibly get a run. And well, you don't see many overtakes around the that final corner, or I say many overtakes. I think any overtakes you really see there. That could allow Chatfield to go through as he takes that run around the fast right-hander there. But now that's going to allow Roland Moichin to possibly make a move as they're coming onto the front straight. Moichin trying to get alongside, but now Chatfield getting alongside Chung, heading towards the first corner. And now Moichin is going to try and do the same. Moichin going to try and make it 3 wide down the front straight here. Chatfield is already through past the Ferrari of Chung, and so Moichin can't quite make it stick either, but good move there by Chris Chatfield, who does get past Laura Chung. Moichin tried again to do the same, but was unable to make it stick. He backed out and thought better of it. Will Moichin be close enough to Chung on the back straight to make the move? He's in the slipstream of the Ferrari, and so Moichin now on the inside. This could be another move for Moichin. Is he through? And the answer is yes, so he now moves past Laura Chung up into 7th place. Unless Chung can hold it, which she can't. And so now they'll have the other McLaren of De Rossa behind. So Chung losing places hand over fist at the moment. And so now we're looking at Amar Khan, who is currently leading this race, extending the gap to Lopez by 3.3 seconds. And he's currently on the lap, just about beating his personal best, 2,000ths in that sector. Meanwhile, Jake Galloway squeezing his way past Daniel Fraser on the back straight here. And he's through past the Englishman, the two Englishmen fighting each other there. Good move there by Jake Galloway. Meanwhile, this is the battle for P16. This is Fraser being overtaken once again, this time by Andrea Federi, heading towards the first corner. Federi alongside the Haas. And is he going to make the move on the inside? The answer is yes, he is. So Federi moves past Fraser into 16th position. And so we're looking now at Gamba, who again is on the back of Roke, but not able to make a move yet, not quite close enough. Meanwhile, Carr out front, extended the gap now to 4 seconds. Meanwhile, De Rossa now attempting to go past Chung. He's on the inside, and he is through past the Chinese driver, unless Chung can hold it. But he'll get the good run around the outside with De Rossa, and yep, he'll make the move stick. So good job there by him, up into 8th place. So Chung again struggling at the moment, but she's on the 1-stop, whereas most of the drivers around her, apart from Roke actually, are going to be on the 2. The gap coming down slightly there actually. It was 4 seconds, now down to 3.8, but now actually up to 3.9, so it's staying around the 4-second margin actually now. Meanwhile, Rebecca Gambit is going to have his opportunity to pit and try and I suppose undercut George Roke in front of him. Of course, Roke is still going to be going on a lot longer in this stint than Franco Gamba. So as they're heading towards now the final few corners. I mean, this is technically the final proper corner. I mean, the others, I suppose, are just slight kinks onto the long front straight, of course, heading past the Presidential Palace that they're situated by. Or was it Presidential Parliament? It's one of the two. So, meanwhile, Gamba now in the slipstream of Roke coming up towards the pitch, will give him a nice boost. Then Gamba will move across the left, which he does, and into the pits he goes, and actually so does Rademoichin as well, just behind. He'll go into the pits as well. So two drivers pitting on the same lap here. Freckenkammer is in, and so is Rademoichin in the other Racing Point. Maybe some tactics. Could it possibly be some tactics by Racing Point to help Roke? I don't know, but nonetheless, they're both in.
Okay, no pressure.
And Gamma makes his stop, and it will be the 2-stop for him, of course. Changes all 4 tyres, and it's 6.3 seconds. Moichin, he comes in, and it's 6.9, slightly slower, but Gamma, of course, no surprise, stays out in front. But meanwhile, up front, I think Carr is now officially clear of Roke, actually, in 4th place. So if Carr was to pit now, he would come out ahead of George Roke. And meanwhile, Chris Chatfield, who is on the back of Roke now, comes in for his first stop of the race for AlphaTauri. And Chris Chatfield has had a good stint and has generally had a good season. It's been a driver that I think has gone under the radar, I think. Has done a pretty decent job last season at Haas, and now is so far doing a good job with AlphaTauri,
okay, no pressure.
Particularly in this race. And it's not actually doesn't actually have a lot of fuel on this stint, but it's going to be the 2-stop for him anyway. Although the stop is very, very long, and actually has to wait for the McLaren there of De Ross to go by, and De Ross actually has jumped Chatfield in the stops there, so that's not going to help actually Chatfield, so he will not be too happy about that. But De Rossa will, though. He'll be ahead. Comes out just in his gaggle of cars, I think just ahead of Jake Galloway, which he does so. Galloway is going to be pitting soon as well. He's on the 3. And meanwhile, Jamie Griffiths, having run into the back of Gomez on that one, now has a mechanical failure. Fortunately, the pits are just a little bit further up the straight. If he can get there, hopefully his car doesn't break down just before the pits, which it doesn't, and he is going to go into the pits. And there we go. He is in, and actually now so is Amar Kar. Amar Kar comes into the pits too for his first stop of the race for Mercedes, and we're going to see where he's going to come out on the circuit. I think, well, so he come out at P3. Will he come out in any traffic, though, is going to be the next big question. And also, how quick is this stop going to be for Amar Kar?
Okay, no pressure.
So in the pits he comes,
prepare yourself for the first gear.
And change all four tires. And again, a very quick stop from Mercedes there, actually very quick indeed. So he's now down to 3rd as Gal goes past. And that is again a very quick stop from Mercedes, what you would expect. And so there we go, he comes out the pits, and it will be in a comfortable 3rd. Meanwhile, Joseph Willows, who's on the back at the moment of Felix Sontag in the Williams there. And we're looking now at a battle as Chris Chatfield is now going past Jake Galloway in the Renault, and he's on the inside and will go past the Renault very easily there. Chatfield on fresher tyres, although Galloway is on less fuel, but nonetheless it doesn't matter. And now Chatfield is through past him now, so go after the next drivers in front of him. The moment that was Dudu Kirby, at the moment is temporarily in 8th position. It won't last, of course, because he does have to pit. But again, both Haas drivers have had a pretty, I suppose, no surprise. I mean, the car's not particularly good, but they've not done that much this season. So they have kept themselves to themselves and kept out of trouble. Meanwhile, Nicolas Gal coming in for his 2nd stop now, so comes in even before Lopez comes in for his first stop. So, of course, this will prove that Gal will be on the 3 stoppers. Amar Kar now sets the fastest lap of the race of 136.9. And so Gal comes in. And yet we'll have one more stop to make, so it will be quite late on. He'll be pretty quick, Gal, though. So maybe he could even go for the fastest lap and get the fastest lap point. Who knows? So as we're looking at him coming out of the pits right now, he'll come up behind George Roke, and actually might even come up behind Laura Chung here. And which I believe he did. Yes, he does come up behind both Chung and Roke, so he'll need to do some overtaking if to have a guarantee of a podium, which he will get. He definitely will get, unless anything terrible goes wrong, or something bad goes wrong. Well, I mean, which of course is possible. This is the OC, so you never know what could happen. Meanwhile, Jake Galloway in for a 2nd stop, and Federi is in on the same lap as well. And we're looking at Chris Chatfield, who at the moment is behind De Rossa coming on to the back straight, or the first back straight. And Moichin just about out of range for De Rossa to have a go at him from behind. And meanwhile, Lopez, who's leading up front, he's going to be pitting on probably either, if not the next lap, the lap after lap 29. So I think it looks like Lopez is going to be going for the one stopper. And so as you look at Lopez coming across the line, I know actually it is going to be this lap. This lap Lopez will pit. So this is going to be fascinating to see the two different strategies from Mercedes coming into effect right now. So the question is, Lopez, he'll come out obviously behind Armored Car because the gap is way less than 20 seconds. It needs to be at least 28 seconds. So of course, Car will take the lead back of this race. And now the big question is, what is the pace difference going to be like with Lopez now? He's going to be on the fresher tyres. Meanwhile, speaking of fresher tyres, Miguel Gal is now going past the Ferrari of Laura Chung very easily, coming down the front straight here, and yes, and even before the line, and Gal already getting in front of the Ferrari before the first corner. Chung does briefly take a look into turn 1, but to no avail. Meanwhile, Joseph Willer trying to pass the Williams here of Sontag, still stuck behind actually, and no, not quite able to get through there. And so Willers, who had been closing up to Sontag, but still unable to make it stick. And I don't know what the fuel situation is with Felix Sontag. I need to check his fuel again to see what's going on. But Willers trying a move on the inside, swapping to the left. This could be the move right here. Will he do it? And the answer is no, he doesn't. He can't do it. And so he's going to have to wait once again to make the move. But this is not what Willers needed. And Sontag has a little bit less fuel. So if Sontag hasn't pitted yet, then he might even go to the end, Sontag. So Felix Sontag might actually be within a shout of getting some points. And I just don't remember him pitting. So I think this could be a legitimate chance for Sontag to get his first points of the season. Meanwhile, Gao is now passing Roca. As Roca actually was coming into the pits, that's why Roca looked to be slowing there. But Roca now comes into the pits, and it was sort of the worst time there for Gal to try and overtake him on the front straight there. As we're looking now at Nicholas Gal, who has already gone past. Roca is now in, and meanwhile a battle behind between Kirby and Franco Gamma there. So there's another car also coming into the pits on the same lap. I think that was David Kupok, and yes, it was David Kupok who's going in. There's Chatfield, and Moitian's been held up there, and Chatfield is going to steamroll past Moitian once again. It is a deja vu moment for Chris Chatfield and for Roland Moitian as Chatfield goes past it there once again. So Rote now comes in out of the pits in 12th position, so he comes out in a bit of clear air, although he might catch up to Evan Byrne in front of him possibly. We'll see about that. And so we're looking now all these Gagler cars. So now it's all going to be about it all is going to be about the one stop versus the two stop, which is going to be the superior strategy. So of course Roke is going to the end. Chung is still not pitted, and he will be going to the end. Sontag, as I was suspected, has not pitted, so he'll be doing the one stop as well. And he's that high up, and he's doing a good job at holding up Joseph Willows here. Is Sontag, so this could really work out a good advantage for Felix Sontag if he manages to keep this pace up. Meanwhile, Laura Chung now does come into the pits for her first and only stop of the race, and so we'll see where she will come out on the circuit. Actually, it'll be interesting to see if she comes out ahead of George Roke or not, because of course those two have been in the battle of the whole race. Chung tried several times to get past Roke and was unable to do so. So we were about to find out as Chung comes out the pits. It wasn't too slow of a stop, but unfortunately got held up by that car, which was actually Felix Sontag, funnily enough, coming into the pits. So the big question is Chung going to come out ahead of George Roke or not? And Roke's just coming around the first corner now, and no, and Roke stays ahead. So that hold up by Sontag prevented Chung from doing the overcut on Roke in the pits. And oh my word, can you believe what has just happened there? And Chung will be fuming at the fact that she could have finally jumped Roke in the stop there, and it's not worked out for her. So now Roke will have to probably defend from Chung, as Chung will be the quicker car now. So that will be an interesting battle to see. And now, of course, we are looking at Amar Khan, the current leader of this race, who will be pitting this lap. And so Franco Lopez will be taking the lead back. The gap is just 16 seconds, so Carl will have it all to do if he wants to win this race. He'll have to close down that gap, of course. If he wants to win this race, which of course it could be possible. It will be tight, but it could be possible. but it's going to be very interesting to see. We only have 14 laps to go this race, and of course traffic could come into play here in Baku, because they have lapped a few cars. And so, as we look now at Armor Car, who's come into the pits, we'll change all 4 tyres, and once he finally comes out of his pit box, he'll be back on the track in second, as Lopez of course has already gone past. So now Car will have to go hammer and tong, hammer time. If he wants to win this race, he'll have to overtake Franco Lopez on the circuit, and well, of course he has to do that unless Lopez has a problem or makes a mistake, goes into the wall. Who knows what could happen? But of course actually Car has crucially actually come up behind Miguel Escal and behind a little bit of traffic, so this actually could help Franco Lopez up front, as Car will need to get past the traffic quickly and of course get past Gal very quickly. But of course for Car, doesn't need to worry too much about Gal because he's pitting in a few laps anyway, but it will be something that he doesn't need, because I don't know if Gal will bother trying to defend, because well, Gal won't be able to defend. I mean, he can, well, not to say that he can't defend, but he'll struggle to, with Car being very fast. I'm pretty sure he actually has the fastest lap of the race as Car. Meanwhile, De Rosa is in the pits, and there's pit calls for both Willows and Franco Gamba, who are going to be coming in the pits on the next lap as well. So those two will be going in, so they'll relinquish 4th and 5th places. And of course for Willows, it'd be important for him to see if he can get ahead of Felix Sontag. And I wonder if he does get ahead of Sontag after his stop, if he'll be able to close up to the back of Chung and George Roque. So we could see a battle there possibly as well. And so there is Roque just ahead of Chung. Chung again, once again, is closing the gap on Roque in front. Relemojin, of course, who's going to be pitting once more. Gamma pitting this lap, as I said. Willows will be as well. And at the moment, Car is going to be going after Miguel Escal for second position, and then, of course, going after Franco Lopez for the win of this race. And if Lopez wins, of course, it will prove that the one stop around here is superior. And so we're going to find out in these last 12 laps of this race which pit stop strategy will come out on top. And unfortunately, well, we know one thing for certain right now is the 3-stop was not the way to go for Red Bull, because I mean Gal was insanely quick in the first stint. I mean, he got nearly a 10-second gap to the 2 Mercedes, which are by far the best car on the grid. I mean that takes some doing. And so as we're looking now at Laura Chung, who's once again trying to get past Roque. We've seen this before. She's trying to get on the inside, but she's just not got the power in a straight line. That is what is keeping Roque ahead, plain and simple. It clearly doesn't look like Roque has the pace compared to Chung, but again, just the engine power is keeping Roque ahead right now. So that is a good job. And meanwhile, that was the pit stop as Gamba and Willows both were coming in there, so it'll be interesting to see where they both come out of the stops as well. Chung, is she quite close enough to Roque coming up to the next corner, coming up to turn 3, and not quite. She run out straight, unfortunately. Now, meanwhile, once again, Chung going to try on the inside on the front straight, but she should know by now that it doesn't work. I mean, Roque could just be smiling as he knows that Chung can't get past in a straight line. Meanwhile, Relemojin is now in as well. Roque really defending. Chung really wanted to make this boost stick here, and there's so nearly contact between the two. That could have gone horribly wrong there for both drivers, but fortunately they get away without contact there. But that was very, very sketchy indeed between Roque and Chung. And so once again, Roque does stay in front. You can see Chung wanted to do it, and she really wanted to go for it then. And Roque defended to the inside, and Chung was stuck on the inside line, and that was very, very close. That could have ended in tears if that had gone wrong. Meanwhile, Relemojin has come out, it looks like, just ahead of Kupok. No, I think he's just come out just ahead of Galloway in 10th, crucially. But meanwhile, this battle again still going on. And we're looking, and meanwhile, I think that was Sontag did get ahead, was ahead of Willows there. So unfortunately for Willows, that stop for him didn't quite work out. So unfortunately, he will have to now try and overtake Felix Sontag on the circuit. Meanwhile, Carl once again closing up to the back of Gal. So we'll need to get past Gal ASAP, and then he'll have one sight on his Mercedes teammate. The gap is down. It's down to 9 seconds. And well, it's actually now down to 7, actually, because Gal himself is actually gaining on Lopez, despite the fact he's on old tyres. Well, I say old tyres. They're not quite as bad. But you can see there was Willows, who unfortunately didn't get ahead of Sontag in the stop. So Sontag is on, it looks like, for a P6 here, and that would be a fantastic result, his best result of the season for Williams. He would definitely be very happy with that. Meanwhile, actually, I think I just thought that was a pit call, I think, for Miguelos Gal to come into the pits this lap, so I don't think Carl will have to worry about battling with Gal, so which is a relief for him. So now he'll have full focus on going after his teammate Lopez for the win. There's just 7 laps to go of this race, and meanwhile Chung following Roke through the castle section here. And when is she, well, can she make the move? I mean, she needs to try something different. She's tried it on the front straight and it clearly won't work, because the car has not got the engine power that the Mercedes has. So she needs to think outside of the box, and or outside of the walls, you could say, and just think of something different. And so we're looking at Kupok, who at the moment is down in 40th place. Galloway down in 50th, who's been on the 3. Chung once again trying, but not going to do it this time round. And again, it's just not going to work. It's pointless. And look at the momentum she's now lost. And we're now here, just 5 laps to go, and Roke still defending from Chung, although Chung does have a run on him here. And Roke defends the inside, Chung is on the outside. And surely is Chung going to do it around the outside? She might have actually done it, you know, and she has! Would you believe it? And Laura Chung has finally made the move on George Roke, been stuck behind for 46 laps, and finally she has made the move on George Roke, and what a move it was. And wow, we need to see this again. So Roke defended to the inside. He thought that he had covered her off, but oh no, he hadn't, and Chung went round the outside with a fantastic move. I mean, clearly she's been quicker than Roke all race, but just unable to get through. But again, she has well and truly mugged Roke off there. Roke really thought that he had covered her off, and well, play just didn't. And Chung, probably one of the moves of the season, that is, or the move of the season so far. You rarely see any moves around the outside here in Baku, and that is a fantastic job there by Laura Chung. And now she's up into a P4 as well. A great result. And just imagine if Roberta Gamba hadn't crashed while chasing Roke, it could have been a double points finish for Ferrari. Meanwhile, this is David Kupok, who is going past Dudu Kirby for 13th place coming into turn 1. And he gets through on the inside, and he's up into 13th. So, unfortunately for Kupok, not been a particularly thrilling race for him. Kirby down in 14th, of course. Galloway is on the 3 stop, and it's not worked out for him at all. Down in 15th position at this moment in time. And again, I mean, Roke could be under pressure as well, because he's not had any pace, it seems, and Sontag is pretty close behind him, so he might need to look out on the last lap. And as of course we are now on the last lap, and at the moment it is still Franco Lopez who is leading this race. Cara, you can see, is there in the background, and I think if Lopez gets past this Haas here of Kirby, and I believe that is going to be race over, and yep, so he has now lapped Kirby there, and now Carr has to get past both Kirby and Galloway, so I think Lopez has this race sewn up. So it proves, of course, that the one stop was the superior strategy here at Baku. I mean, there's a reason why that Lopez was P1, Carr on the 2 stop was P2, Gal on the 3 stop still in P3, but again, it could have been a whole lot different if he was on the 2. Chung and Roke, P4 and 5, both on the 1 stop. Sontag and Willows on the 2, Gamba on the 2, Moichin 2, De Rossa 2. Actually, no, Sontag wasn't on the 2, sorry, Sontag was on the 1 stop, so it worked out especially well for a number of drivers. And meanwhile, Galloway and Kirby battling, coming through the final left-hander there, coming onto the front straight, but Franco Lopez is going to be the one taking the victory here. It was Amakar who took the first 3 victories here at Baku. Lopez took the 4th, and now he'll take the 5th victory here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix at Baku. As he's now coming to the line, and he can see the checkered flag, and Franco Lopez wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and a good result for him. The 1 stop coming out on top as Carl will come across the line in 2nd. Galloway stays 14th behind Kirby. Federi in 16th position as well. Didn't see him at all this race. Saw him a little bit at the start, but been a very quiet race for him. And so meanwhile we're looking at Miguel Gal, who's set to come home in a solid 3rd place. I mean, he'll be pretty gutted that, I suppose. He was on the 3 because he was very, very quick at the beginning, almost a 10-second gap to Mercedes. So it proves the Red Bull did have the pace on the light fuel, but I think they did that because they couldn't match him, I suppose, on the normal pace. But still, P3 for Gal, and a very comfortable one at that. He will be happy about that for sure. And of course there's a huge gap, of course, to Chung in 4th position, as we see Daniel Fraser in 17th coming across the line. Amelia Wilson coming across the line in 18th position now, and there is Laura Chung. Fantastic result for her on the one stop. Looked like it wasn't going well for her early on with all the overtaking that was happening to her, but fair play. P4 is very good. JB Griffiths P19, and Roke does hold on to P5, and Willows tries to have a go at Sontag for P6 but can't do it, so he is P7, Franco Gamba P8, Rolomoichin P9, and De Rossa completing the points in 10th. So Chatfield actually does miss out on points in 11th there, as we look now at Gomez coming across the line in 20th, Byrne in 12th place, and finally of course David Kupok will come across the line in P13. So for a number of drivers, strategies did not work out for them today. And of course, what mattered, of course, was certainly the engine you had in your car. The Mercedes engine, obviously, clearly superior to all the other engines, hence why we saw Chung failing to get past Roke for all of the race. But nonetheless, that is the race over here at Baku, and we'll look at the full race results, with Franco Lopez winning ahead of Makar in 2nd, Miklas Gau in 3rd, Laura Chung 4th, George Roke 5th, Felix Sontag 6th, Joseph Willis 7th, Frank Gamba 8th, Roland Moichin 9th, and Kirosov De Rossa 10th, completing the points in the top 10. Makar setting the fastest lap of the race, a 1:36.871. But unfortunately, he doesn't get the win, but he does get the fastest lap point. Chatfield, of course, was in P11, Evan Byrne P12, David Kupok P13, with Dudu Kirby, Jake Galloway, Andrea Federi, Daniel Fraser, Amelia Wilson, Jamie Griffiths, and Gabriel Gomez, the drivers who were a lap down, with only 2 retirements in this race, surprisingly at Baku. Roberto Gamba, who of course crashed on his own while trying to chase Roke, and Rosetta Martins, who had a car failure. So now we'll take a look at the Drivers' Championship, and Franco Lopez extending the lead to 19 points ahead of Makar in 2nd, Miklas Gau 3rd, George Roke moving up into 4th place ahead of both Moichin and Franco Gamba, Jake Galloway 7th, Byrne 8th, and Gamba and Kupok completing the rest of the top 10. And the rest of the standings as follows: Chung moving all the way up into 12th with that 4th place finish, as well as 13th, Chatfield 14th, Gabriel Gomez 15th, Andrea Federi 16th, Felix Sonta moving all the way up to 17th with his first points finish of the season with now 8 points on the board, with Jamie Griffiths, Rosetta Martinez, Dudu Kirby, Amelia Wilson, and Daniel Fraser the only drivers yet to score any points. Meanwhile, in the Constructors, Mercedes still have a healthy lead over Red Bull, almost 150 points the gap. Racing Point not too far behind Red Bull in 2nd, Renault in 3rd, Ferrari moving up into 5th position ahead of McLaren and AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo in 8th, and Williams of course with their first points in 9th, Manor 10th, and Haas in 11th with their points. Surprise the driver of the day, given to Felix Sontag for a great performance, getting that 6th place in his first points of the season for Williams, so congratulations to him, well done. But that was the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It was an okay race, I guess. There was some action. Next round, of course, will be the French Grand Prix at the Circuit Paul Ricard. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to check out all our links in the description. Check out our Twitter, join our Discord, check out our wiki pages. Give the video, of course, a like. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you for the next round in France. Goodbye.